what's up fam? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing well. Today will be the third installation in this series of gauges that I got from my sponsors at GlowShift. Once again, big shouts to Jason at GlowShift, the guy who sponsored me. I'll tell you guys one thing about this company, guys. Really good customer service. That's one thing I could say. You're actually talking to a person. No, you don't have to freaking email, stuff like that. My sponsor has been available to me, even through text. So shouts to you, Jay. Anyway, as I said, this will be the third installation in this series. Today I'll be doing the oil pressure sensor, and the first video I did with the boost vacuum gauge, I know that was a little bit lengthy, but I did have to show about routing the wires, running the fuses, testing, stuff like that. The second video was like half the time, and this will probably be another 15-minute video or so forth. But what we're going to be doing today is I'll just show you what's in the box real quick, and once I show you guys what's in the box, we'll jump right into the install. That's really it. See you guys soon. Alright guys, so right here you can see you got the oil pressure sensor gauge. This is in every box right here. This helps sandwich the gauge onto your gauge pod so you can fit it if the gauge is a little bit loose or whatnot. That we don't need. This is extra. This is something I bought to make the installation easier. This is an oil sandwich plate adapter. It goes between the oil filter and the mounting plate of the car that the oil filter screws onto. The reason why I opted to get this is only like 30 bucks for my car, was because I didn't want to have to go and take off the alternator and stuff like that to put on this oil pressure sensor. Instead, once I pop this, I just take off the oil filter and put this in, put the oil filter back. And what I'm going to be doing here is, don't forget guys, you need Teflon tape. So what I'll be doing is wrapping up this in Teflon, screwing it in to one of, there's about, I think maybe 4 holes in here. Just check, 1, 2, yep, 3, 4. And once I put the sensor in here, then you have 2 little harnesses. This harness here will be plugging into the sensor, and that is what you route through the firewall. And this right here also goes to the back of your gauge, and this connects to the wires, as I said. Remember, you see these wires before? You got orange, red, black, yellow. Orange we haven't been using because that's what you connect to a fuse that has a light, like the light switch connected to it. That's if you want to dim the gauges by 50. This is the red. This is a switch. This will go to a switch connection. This is the ground, and this will go to a permanent connection source. So this and this also plugs in the back of your gauge pod, and that's really it, guys. So I'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, so it's from the time lapse you guys saw that obviously there are 4 ports, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 4 little screws right here, the 1/8 NPT screws, and or nuts, and you have the oil pressure sensor right here. So I didn't tighten everything down as yet, because once I put this on, I don't know the orientation it's going to be in, which means I don't know which will be the most suitable hole for the sensor. So it could be here, 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 or anywhere. That's why nothing is tightened down yet. And don't forget, so now once you put, there's a piece right here. So this gasket right here, this is the bottom of it. There's a rubber gasket. Before you guys put this sandwich adapter, make sure you put a little fresh oil right here just to lubricate the seal so it doesn't break or anything like that. So once you take the oil filter off, this goes in between here, like so, and this screws on to the spindle that the oil filter screws onto, and then you screw your oil filter on right here. That's it. Bam.
stopping for no fake bitch. Getting money to the doors, elevate off my wheel. Tight stuff, and I know I'ma cut off for the loose shit. Nah.
Alright people, from the time lapse you saw, obviously I used my frog tape. Just tape the splitter real quick so it doesn't, even if it touches the ramp, it'll be alright. Alright, so now this is all we gotta do is easy part. We just gotta take down the skid plate in this car. Once we take down the skid plate, I'll have access to the oil filter. Once I take the oil filter off, I'm not draining all my oil. Y'all have any clue how expensive Motul is? Crazy? And I change my oil every 1,500 miles? Nah, we ain't playing that game. So the only oil I'll be topping off with this is what we lost from the filter. So once we're done with the entire install, once I start the car, I'll see how much oil I'm low on, and we'll do it like that. But anyway, these are all the parts with the gauges and stuff like that. Gonna need some tools, extra oil, obviously a funnel so you don't mess it up. You need a little drain pan, and I'm bringing all my taps and wires, and I'll bring my heat gun and stuff out here because all my work is gonna get done out here today. So now, as I said, drop the skid, take the filter off, put the sandwich adapter on, and just see which port I gotta put the oil pressure sensor and just run the wires. Here we go.
It's the return to the Mac, everything designed. I'm a little bit wiser now, took up the blinders now. Where did my life go out? Thank God I figured it out. Feeling so happy right now, no more you bringing me down. Getting money to the doors, elevate off my wheel. Tight stuff, and I know I'ma cut off for the loose shit. Nah. I swear I feel like I'm a psychic.
Alright guys, so once that skid plate comes off, the oil filter is it's easily accessible. Ain't no thing. Just gotta loosen it up and just screw on the sandwich plate and check the orientation of where that pressure sensor is supposed to go. Alright guys, so in that time lapse, what you guys saw, all I was doing was making sure that when I took that filter off, cleaned down the mounting surface, I already added some oil on the gasket off the sandwich adapter, and what I wanted to make sure was that gold spindle, I wanted to make sure it fit on the OEM, I wanted to make sure it fit on the spindle for that the filter goes on the block. That's when you saw me thread it on first. Then I took it off, put the sandwich adapter on, and then started threading it in between the sandwich adapter and onto the OEM spindle, because I wanted to check the orientation of how this is gonna sit, and exactly how I put these MPT nuts in. It's gonna sit right here, because now the sensor is free. The sensor is right over here. It's nice and free. I can plug something in right here, run the wiring up to the side or the front, and out of harm's way, and that's really it. That's all I care about, and that's about that. So let me just tighten everything down. I'm gonna tighten up all these nuts and the spindles, and that's it.
The way I read your mind, a slow decline of you and I is so surprised, don't fight it. Just let it rise, so much over time, we don't waste our time.
Alright guys, I tightened up everything, just to give you guys a heads up. These, oil on there, everything where it needs to be. Just to give you guys a heads up, these holes on the sides of the 4 ports, on the sides of the sandwich adapter, they're tapered. So all these nuts, they're not meant to go all the way down. They're not meant to go all the way down. So as soon as you hand thread them in, give them just a couple turns. You don't have to over crank on them, and you'll be fine. You will be fine. Now, the thing about the spindle right here, all you got to do, make sure you orientate that right, and all you got to do is hand tighten the spindle. Once you hand tighten the spindle, nice and tight. Once you tighten the oil filter will also tighten this. So, you get what I'm saying? So that's why, because if you over tighten, if you tighten this with like a wrench or a socket or something like that, then tighten the oil filter down, there's a chance that you can break the gasket that's on the other side of this sandwich adapter. You break that gasket, you're gonna be a freaking real angry person, because you're gonna have a real bad leak. All right, the gasket is on here, got oil on it. Goes there. I get so mad that I even had to let some of that Motul go to waste on that filter, boy. Shit. My oil got changed literally a couple weeks ago. But it's all good. So now, guys, as I told y'all before on Instagram, you don't need a freaking tool to tighten down your goddamn oil filter. Like legit. Just hand tighten it. Hand tighten it. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Because once that heat, once that pressure and that heat hits the gaskets on the filter, it expands and seals it perfectly. And that's it. Perfect. Now all we gotta do is connect the harness to right here and route the wire. And that's it. All right, guys, everything under the car is intact. The sandwich adapter is tight. I'm just gonna plug this harness into the sensor, run it up the side of the motor, and I'll see you at the top. All right, guys, so plugged it into the sensor, ran it to the side of the motor, fished it through the firewall, and up to the defroster vent. Guys, this shit is a pain in the ass. Also, side note, if you are running a sandwich plate adapter, the wire is just enough where you would have to literally route it under the car so strategically that you would still have enough to run through the firewall and come up just to hide the wire. It is very, very, very difficult to do it. I made it work though. Oh, side note, the reason why I had to make it work was I saw that I didn't have enough wire. So I ended up calling GlowShift technical support. And he was telling me, now this is a simple red, white, black wire. You know what I mean? You could just cut this and join. But they were saying that the power for the power harness, the smaller cable, you can cut and join. The power harness is this right here. This plugs into the back of the, just plugs in right here to the back of the gauge. So does the sensor harness, which is routed up here. But he said that if you cut and join this, it could affect the reliability of the reading. So I didn't want to take that chance. And you know, if you had to order an 18-foot cable, it'd be like $10. But so I didn't have time. It's freaking cold. I ain't got time for that bullshit. So I did what I had to do. I didn't cut it. I routed it perfectly, and I had just enough to run it up that vent. Well, so that's just a side note for you guys. This you can cut and join, which I've been doing all along. The sensor wires, you might not want to take the chance to, just in case. All right, guys, now what I'm going to be doing is routing, just taking these out real quick, just temporarily, to route this wire and the power wire in the back of it. And I got to fish the power wire through the vent still. And this little Allen nut that I showed you from the beginning, that is the final piece I'm going to be putting through this hole to hold down the pods to the base. And that is it. Then I'm going to start it up, test for any leaks, and that's it. Alright guys, so what you see me doing here is pulling the gauges forward slightly in order to run the power and sensor harnesses through the back of the first and second pods to the third. It's a pretty tight fit. As you see right here, I'm lengthening the power harness for the gauge with extra yellow, red, and black ground wire. I'm not using the white attached to the orange, as I said, and then I'm heat shrinking it for that nice tight bond to tap into the fuses with, as per the previous videos. Alright guys, you got to pull the first two gauges forward in order to run the power and sensor harnesses to the back of those gauges to the third gauge. Once you connect it, make sure you attach that frog tape around the gauge for that nice snug fit. And then lastly, attach that Allen screw to the top of that hole to attach it to the base for that nice snug fit. And there you have it. It's all finished. Alright guys, so what you're seeing right here, I just took the panel off, blocking up all the wires, taking the tape off. Now is what I've been talking about since the beginning of the video. All the yellow wires from the boost, AFR, and this oil pressure sensor gauge will be connected in one and heat shrunk to the yellow wire running to this permanent fuse. And all the red wires, the three red wires from the boost, AFR, and oil pressure sensor gauge are going to be heat shrunk to the fuse for the switch connection. And I'll be doing the same for the black wire. I actually took a fuse tap and tapped into the ground that's connected right on the side of the clutch pedal. Alright guys, this is the first start. I actually had to check it before. I had to start it up and check it before just to check for any leaks. There are none. Obviously you see how the glass is fogging up. It's like in the teens right now. Freaking brick. So this is the first start, all three gauges. Once again, thank you guys for riding this out with me. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that color fade. Freaking beautiful. Freaking dope, man. Got the boost AFR running in conjunction with the access port, and you got the oil pressure sensor. Shit is working great. Gotta love that color fade, guys. Definitely check out GlowShift. Use my name Wicked Whips for a discount. They got really great gauges that don't break the bank. So let's go for a ride. Dope. Vacuum is working on point, AFR on point, oil pressure perfect. Damn, these people can't drive for shit. But anyway, guys, these gauges are running smooth. Running on par with the access port. Definitely a good buy. Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
Tell me what you like. Bounce it on the ground for me. You know what I like. I think I need to pray. Bust it down, bust it down, bust it down. Jesus. I think I need to pray. Bust it down, bust it down, bust it down. Jesus. I think I need to pray. Got that type of money, need no cash back.